Alexei Navalny, who went missing a while ago, has now been discovered right up in the north in a penal colony. And he's written a letter referring to himself as Father Frost, that is the Russian equivalent of Santa. He says, I have a sheepskin coat, a hat with ear flaps. I should get felt boots soon, and I have grown a beard during the 20-day transit. The main thing is that I now live above the Arctic Circle. And I'm sure that that President Putin, if he's still alive, and certainly his followers, who sadly still are alive, will be anxiously hoping that Alexei Navalny succumbs to the cold and dies. But his lawyers, his allies, were not told in advance of his move, and he's been in detention since 2021 when he arrived back in Moscow after being poisoned with a version of Novichok. That's the poison, the radioactive poison, rather than the hotel chain. And he arrived back in Moscow and was instantly arrested and put in a gulag. And he's now been transferred to another gulag right up in the north, in the near the town of Karp. It's the most remote. It's called Polar Wolf, and it's surrounded by mountains, freezing dark winters, and in the summer come the mosquitoes. There's not much daylight, particularly during the winter. And he says, I don't say ho, 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 but I say oh, oh, oh when I look out of the window, where I see it's night, then evening, then night again. And he says these very beautifully fluffy shepherd dogs who guard him. There is a library there with 8,000 books. There's a shop, there's a church, there's a prisoner cook who apparently enjoys making cakes. But it takes 40 hours by train from Moscow, and for Navalny himself, apparently it took 20 days in a complicated journey, I think, to disguise where he was going and to confuse his lawyers. He went from... So first he was in the Vladimir region, and then he went to Ekaterinburg in the Ural Mountains, and then finally through Kirov up to Vorkuta, before finally arriving in Karp last Saturday. I didn't expect anyone would find me here until mid-January. I was very surprised then when yesterday the cell's doors were opened with the words, "There is a lawyer for you." Well, that's very positive, and I hope that Navalny survives this present stint of his prison service. I must say I don't understand why Navalny went back to Russia in the first place, and he is a focus of discontent, but I don't think he's a serious... I don't think he was a serious contender for the presidency. I think at the moment, the longer he stays in prison, if he survives, and if he survives past Putin's death, then he becomes a character not unlike others who have survived prison and gone on to lead their nation. Prison may well build him into presidential material. He has the desire to become president. Whether or not he has the capacity to become president, I would have said not in the past, but his resilience in prison is phenomenal. And the longer he stays, the more impressive, I suppose, he becomes. And long may it go on.